Nottingham Forest won, Chelsea won. New year, same old Chelsea. New year, same old Chelsea fans. New year, yet people are still boasting about the facts that we're stealing other people's coaching staff. We're taking their scouts and we're taking their players, but yet we're still playing rubbish and people ignore the fact that nothing's actually getting better. Nothing's actually going to improve as long as we continue to have the same old players, the same old coaching staff, making the same old decision, making decisions purely based on hierarchy and sentiment rather than actually doing what's best for the club. In this video today, we are going to be covering the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from the club. But if my energy levels are low, it's because of the team. If my energy levels aren't as enthusiastic and I'm not as normally chirpy as I normally am, it's because I'm actually very disheartened with Chelsea Football Club at the moment. When it comes to the club, I'm absolutely shattered from watching them play and being bored. I'm absolutely disgusted with our style of play. And more importantly, and this is the biggest one, I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of every single time there's a reason for why we aren't. But yet you look at Arsenal, you look at Liverpool, you look at Manchester United, you look at Man City, and all of a sudden, all of them have players that are doing the fundamentals correctly on a consistent basis, and yet they're actually doing well. So let's break this down and let's just be honest about it. Let's be frank. Let's take the agendas, throw them in the bin, because we don't need them right now. This team is not making it. I can try spin it in any way. I could try be as enthusiastic. I could try be as positive as I want. This could get Leo Messi in his prime into that squad and they still would not make top. There are so many gasping errors in this game that were to show. It made me... Alright, so I'm back at home on the 5th. So after the 5th, we get back to the normal setup, the high quality, the good sound quality, the nice background, the lighting being perfect. But for now, this will have to do. So you guys can help me out. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, blah, 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 blah. Let's start with the ugly, because the ugly is where we need to. The ugly is I'm defeated. The ugly truth from today's performance is I am very defeated. I'm tired of these players. There are far too many players in this team that insinuate that they are good players. They elaborately convey that, oh, you know what, I've got a ton of potential. They speak a big game. Lord knows a lot of them speak a big game. But when the reality is, when you saw today, when the going got tough in that second half, where you're away from home, you're playing against a relegation battling team that are fighting for a point. They can sniff it. It's the first day of the season in their head, because it's the first day of a new year. They're amped up. They're like, you know what, Chelsea on the ropes. We go in at 1-0 ahead, come out, and they got us on the rope. Our boys didn't want to have a battle. Our boys did not want to have a fight. No one wanted to have a scrap. The only one that wanted to have a scrap was Zakaria. And that was very... We're filled with players that are just meh. That are so inconsistent that we cannot build a team around them. Like, let's talk about it. I love Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is the first one. Meh today. Tried to do some stuff, didn't get fed. Mason Mount. Meh. Nothing. Pulisic, Sterling, you're getting the gist. Too many players on their day, phenomenal players. I don't see their day enough. I really don't. I'm consistently stuck with dealing with players that are no longer of the quality or developing quick enough to become of the quality. There's no urgency in their play. I thought Kai was okay in the first half. The rest were absolutely lackluster. They were pathetic. They weren't doing nothing. And you're literally giving them applause for moments. One single run and everyone's like, oh, look at this. One single flick and you're like, oh, look at this. And it's consistent. And that's what infuriates me, because they're professional footballers playing for a top 4 side legend. And we're repeatedly giving them praise for doing basics. And it's really annoying. And the second ugly truth, Azpilicueta should not be playing in the first team for Chelsea Football Club. How many times do you have to say? The amount of times our open play breaks down because of Azpilicueta, yet no one wants to admit that. A lot of people are going to say, you know what, but it's Dave, he's been with us for so long, we can't drop him, we've got no other choice. Instead of going after Enzo Fernandez, instead of going after Badiashile, instead of going after Fofana, Andre Santos, why don't we go and get a right back? Reece James is a broken right back, and today it was evident to see what Nottingham Forest were going to do. Lodi was bombing forward, Lodi made it physical, Lodi was going to be a nuisance for Azpilicueta to deal with. And yet, once again, Aspi at his age cannot match match the physicality. He cannot match the ability to level up his game to a certain standpoint where physically, tactically, and technically he has to be on point. And sadly, he was not once again, and we will received the goal, received the sucker punch purely because of Aspilicueta. Let's look at it. Number one, Aspi gives the ball away. Corner comes in, Aspi's the one that's not tight enough to Aurier, and Aurier gets the ball through Kepa's legs. I'm not saying everything was Aspi's fault, but I'm saying Aspi shouldn't be playing for Chelsea Football Club. And yet, people aren't going to accept that. People are going to be moaning. People are going to be like, Alex, you're being too harsh. And I'm just tired, people. The bads. And the bads about today, where do we start? All right, well, let's start first of all with the players never showed up in the second half. You're winning. Your backs are against the wall. You need to step up. And all of a sudden, that 15-minute range where a team can boss a game for 15 minutes. The issue becomes is when the team carries on bossing it past that 15-minute range. And this is what Chelsea did. They didn't get tight to Nottingham Forrest. They didn't bully Nottingham Forrest. And they literally did not create any chances bar the one Hakim Ziyech cross in the second half. And that is a problem. Kepa's far too busy. Kepa was way too busy for my liking. I said it before. He was literally doing too much this season. And again, 4 saves on 4 shots on target, 1 that went through his legs to make it 5, and all of a sudden it's 1-1. You can't consistently ask Kepa to be making one-on-one saves, saves at his near post, saves at his far post, stretching for saves, and then can get upset when he receives one. Look, football's not different. Prevent the crosses from coming in. Prevent shots from being on target. Do your defensive responsibilities. Win second challenges and second balls. And all of a sudden, you're going to have a good chance of winning games. But if you don't do the ugly stuff, the pretty stuff's not going to work. And sadly, this team isn't doing the fundamentals, let alone being creative and elaborate on the ball. Like if you look at Jorginho today, and Jorginho got marked out of the game. We saw that in the first half. And what did we have to answer? We had Mason Mount, and then next to Mason Mount, we had Zakaria. Zakaria, in my opinion, had a decent one. People loved it because he showed a lot of energy, a lot of heart, and wanted to get on the ball. But when he got on the ball, he's very limited as a player. So when he's not able to, when he gets on the ball, it's almost like a turnover. It's almost like a transition. And unless he gives it simply, we're in trouble. Mason Mount had one good situation. Other than that, very limited. Now we need to talk about Raheem Sterling and Christian Pulisic. Pulisic tries, consistently tries. But I need more. I need more consistent. I need a consistent output from him. And I'm not even saying goals and assists, because goals and assists are overrated. They paint a picture in a sense that it can make an average player look very good, or it can make a good player look very bad. Because if they don't get the X amount of goals or X amount of assists, it just portrays a picture of something that could not be real. So for me, I just want bare minimum. Pick up the ball and take someone on. Give me some urgency. Get me a reason to get off my chair. Give me a reason to go, oh, I actually enjoyed watching that. Raheem Sterling again. What did Raheem do all game? Raheem done nothing. And the worrying thing is, Raheem's playing on the right-hand side. He's being used as an auxiliary piece when he's a left-handed player, when he plays on the left-hand side, when he's a player that's been actively being good in his career from the left. And yet I need to accept that Raheem Sterling in the prime of his career will have to play on the right-hand side, get a tap in, and I need to celebrate it and say, well done, applause. Like I said, the bare minimum gets rewarded. And it's perfect. There are some positives that I want to talk about. Negatives just keep coming into my head. Number one, another one. Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher comes on the pitch for Chelsea. Conor Gallagher, Zakaria, they're not Chelsea quality midfielders. We lost control when Conor came on. Literally, Conor was asked to dictate play. Conor was asked to dictate play. Do you know how that is gross misconduct from Potter? You don't know the profile of your players. Because if you ask Conor Gallagher to dictate play, I'm worried what you see in training. Guys, you know I have to give you some positives. And once again, I'm going to apologize for being really underwhelmed. I don't have the energy. I don't really want to be out in front of a camera right now. I'm that frustrated with this team. Thiago Silva today was a very good player again. Consistently coming out with the ball, dealing with stuff first time, considering we're playing such a high line. He's dealt with everything predominantly very well. Then you start looking at Koulibaly as well. I think a lot of people want to take jabs at Koulibaly because of their hidden agendas for youth team players getting opportunities. We're not going to... Add much onto that, but I thought Koulibaly had a good game. Consistently left isolated, consistently left one-on-one, consistently asked to do stuff that he's not comfortable to do. And then people get annoyed when I say, well, what's Koulibaly meant to do? He has to clamp him. He can't be getting in a foot race with every single winger or every single striker. It's just not sustainable. That's how you get caught out. People think everyone's meant to be dropping a 10 out of 10. There's a reason why the average performance is 6.5, 7, because nobody can consistently be dropping 10s out of 10. So to get a 6.5, 7, there'll be a mistake here or there. It can't be a big one, but it can't be a perfect game. And that's what's annoying, because on the ball, he was very good today. First half, we were dictating play. Second half, what are they meant to do? The team sits back deeper, they sit on them, there's no outlet, we've not got retention of the ball. Cucurella had another good game in my opinion. I think slowly but surely we're starting to see what a good player he is. But other than that, guys, I'm really disheartened, man. Like, you see Spurs drop points, you see Man City drop points, you see Brighton and Newcastle drop points. Yes, we're that low now. And you're like, all right, we need to win today. We need to get some points and we need to start closing the gap. And the worrying thing is we didn't even do that. We're just nonchalant. We don't score enough goals. We don't have enough strikers that get us goals. We have no creativity. And yet I'm hearing, no, I don't want Joao Felix. And people, I'm still hearing, no, he's not good enough for the club. What do you mean he's not good enough for the club? We've got serious issues in this team. We've got too many maybe Arsenal players. And that's why I call players that turn up 1 every 3 games. So I'm sorry, but I'm frustrated. I'm done. I'm sorry that this has been a crap video today, but hope you enjoyed it.